Revealed, Esau's forgotten wife, a miraculous story of divine redemption that transformed hearts. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Esau, the son of Isaac and Rebekah, wandered through the sun-scorched plains of Canaan, burdened by the weight of his choices. Known for his wild nature, he clashed with his brother Jacob, a rivalry that gnawed at his soul. His heart ached with the disappointment of his parents, Isaac and Rebekah, after he took Judith, a Hittite woman, as his wife. In the rejection of his union, he felt the desolate embrace of familial strife, as the barren land he tread mirrored the barrenness in his heart. Each step into the wilderness was a step deeper into despair. The dust clung to his sandals, an omnipresent reminder of regret as he grappled with the distance growing between himself and the blessings he had once known. Would God still provide a purpose for someone so lost? He wandered further, hoping the solitude of the wilderness might offer some clarity. As twilight descended, the stars began to adorn the night, casting a gentle glow upon the earth. Esau found a quiet place among the rocks and fell to his knees. With a voice trembling from anguish, he cried out to the Lord, pleading for direction and redemption. In the stillness of the night, weariness overtook him, and he fell into a deep slumber. A vivid dream enveloped him, heralding a celestial encounter that would change his destiny. In the depths of his sleep, a radiant figure appeared, emanating divine light. Esau, the voice resonated through the night, you are not forsaken. I have seen your pain and strife. Through your union with Judith, a new lineage shall emerge. Words echoed in his heart, pulling at the strings of his weary spirit. She shall be a vessel of intercession for your family, for I will weave a tapestry of redemption through the least expected of hearts. Startled, Esau awoke, his heart racing with newfound hope. The burden of despair began to lift, replaced by the promise of divine purpose. With urgency, he returned to Judith, eager to share the revelation, to show her that they were being woven into God's greater plan. Together, they knelt in prayer, their hands entwined, seeking God's intervention. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As dawn broke over Canaan, illuminating the rugged landscape, Esau felt a stirring in his heart. The sun's rays promised new beginnings and pathways to reconciliation, yet anxiety festered within him. Would his family accept the blessings tied to Judith? Would Isaac and Rebekah find forgiveness in their hearts? These questions loomed large, echoing doubts even as hope flickered in the depths of his soul. With each passing moment, the invitation to return home pressed upon him, a divine call to embrace not only his wife but the legacy they were destined to forge. Courage entwined with trepidation pushed him forward, for he knew that their journey, however uncertain, might lead to a healing altogether unexpected, a testament to the transformative power of God's purpose at work, waiting just beyond the horizon of their dreams. As the sun ascended higher, casting sprawling shadows across the parched ground, Esau and Judith made their way back toward the tent of Isaac. Each step carried a weight of fear and anticipation, mirroring the tumult within Esau's heart. Did sunlight shine on their path as a token of divine favor, or was it merely the harsh glare of reality awaiting them? Approaching the encampment, Esau's eyes caught a glimpse of his father's figure. Isaac sat under the shade of an ancient oak, as he often did, seeking solace amidst the wind's whispers. The sound of their footsteps drew his attention, and he looked up, his expression unfathomable. Judith, sensing the gravity of the moment, stepped closer to Esau, intertwining her fingers with his. "Father," Esau began, his voice barely above a whisper, trembling with the weight of both hope and dread, "I have returned." Isaac's eyes narrowed, a tempest of thoughts swirling behind them. "Esau, it has been long since you departed to follow the desires of your heart. What changes have you brought with you?" Judith stood silently, feeling the piercing gaze of the patriarch upon her. She was both an outsider and a bridge between worlds, a Hittite woman in the house of Isaac, summoned by the divine plan yet overshadowed by uncertainty. Drawing courage from the depth of his newfound purpose, Esau continued, "In my wandering, I sought the Lord. And he has revealed to me that our union is part of his greater design. Judith shall be a vessel of his mercy." Isaac's brow furrowed as he processed the declaration, while his heart recalled the sandy struggles of the past, a reminder of his own missteps in seeking blessings separate from God's will. "Your choice of a wife brought sorrow upon our household, Esau. How can one with a lineage like ours be redeemed through such a union?" Judith spoke, her voice steady like a river finding its way amidst boulders. "I may not have known the ways of your people, yet my heart is inclined toward the one who leads us. God has whispered promises over me, just as he has over Esau. Together, we stand before you, seeking his grace to be woven into your legacy." Before Isaac could respond, the ground trembled subtly, and a stillness enveloped the camp, ushering in an unseen tension. The heavens seemed to throb with expectation. Esau's eyes glimmered with realization, a thought shimmering in his mind as a beacon in the gloom. Could this be the moment of deliverance? What if, Esau posed, his heart quickening, what if God's purpose extends beyond our understanding? What if this is the surprising fiber of his redemptive tapestry? As the weight of that question hung in the air, Isaac's eyes softened, revealing a flicker of recognition mingling with doubt. The silent weight of history and promise seemed to clash in that sacred space. Suddenly, the air vibrated with a rustle from the bush, drawing their attention momentarily away. In the shadows, a figure loomed, cloaked in mystery. It was a messenger, appearing as if summoned from the ether of divine will. "Esau, son of Isaac, your pain is seen, and your journey does not end in despair," the figure proclaimed, their voice echoing with authority. "A fresh wind shall blow through your family. Redemption is coming, woven not only through flesh but through spirit. Prepare your hearts, for the covenant shall be rekindled, and through Judith, God shall raise a generation of intercessors." As these words settled over the gathering like a sacred mantle, Esau turned once more to Isaac. The divine words stirred uncertainty into hope. "Will you stand with us?" Esau asked, his voice gaining strength with each syllable. A holy hush lingered, pregnant with divine possibility, as Isaac pondered this new chapter unfolding. And so, in a moment charged with spiritual significance, the struggle between past and future hung in the balance, rippling outward as the tendrils of God's sovereignty began to weave their intricate patterns. For little did they know, this was but the beginning of a greater revelation yet to come. But what lies ahead? In God's unknown plan. The moment of silence stretched, a fragile thread tethering hope and caution. Isaac, enveloped in contemplation, weighed the words of both his son and the mysterious messenger. The air grew thick with the presence of the divine, saturating the very fabric of their gathering. A fresh wind, indeed, he murmured to himself, considering the lifeblood of covenant that flowed through his lineage. Judith felt a tremor pass through her as she sensed the turmoil within Isaac. She took a small step forward, her heart pounding beneath her breast. "My lord," she said softly, "the God of your father has led me to this place. I am but a humble servant in his plan. I seek to honor my husband and the God of the covenant." Isaac's gaze softened at her earnestness. "You speak as one who understands the weight of promise, yet do you not see the gulf that spans between your people and mine? Can faith bridge the chasm of our histories?" Esau, emboldened by Judith's words, interjected, "Father, do we not serve the same mighty God? Recall the words that were spoken to our forefather Abraham, the promise that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. Is it not written that God can raise up children from stones? We must not confine his mercy to our understanding." The messenger, upon hearing Esau's earnest plea, took a step forward, the aura of divine authority illuminating their form. "The Lord says, Behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth, do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43 verse 19. "It is through Judith, faithful and willing, that I shall indeed forge a new lineage, united in spirit under the banner of the Most High." The ground, which had rumbled moments before, now pulsated with a sacred energy as the words resonated deep within the hearts of those present. Isaac's eyes glimmered with a clarity forged from anguish and hope. "Then let it be as the Lord wills." His voice, though quiet, bore the weight of patriarchal legacy. "I will embrace this new path, though my heart trembles. If God entrusts you, Judith, to our house, then indeed we must endeavor to seek his guidance as one family." A sense of relief washed over Esau, the tears in his eyes reflecting the sunlight that now broke through the clouds. Judith's heart leapt, filled with gratitude, yet still there remained a small seed of doubt, whispering fears of the challenges that may lay ahead. As moments turned into delicate breaths of eternity, the messenger spoke once more, "You will face trials, the path of faith is often steep and laden with shadows. But take heart, for God has raised you for a purpose that is glorious. He will guide you, illumining your journey through darkness." At that declaration, a shiver coursed through the air, and the presence of the divine enveloped them like a mantle. Suddenly, a flock of birds took flight above, soaring across the sky a sign of blessings aflight. Esau turned to Judith as he whispered, "We must prepare our hearts for what is to come. God has entrusted us, not only with our future but with the stories that will be woven through our offspring. What we do here shall echo through generations." With that profound understanding, they clasped hands, entwined by the divine purpose now manifesting literally in their lives. And as shadows danced on the ground, the messenger turned to depart, leaving behind a profound promise between heaven and earth. The time has come for the seeds of faith to blossom, for through rejection and trials, the fragrance of redemption shall arise. Prepare, for the raiment of the Lord's blessings is descending. In the lingering hush, hope was reborn. Yet, where would their path lead, and what trials awaited them through the whispers of destiny? As the sun dipped lower, their hearts kindled in anticipation, shimmering with what could only be a sovereign plan unfolding, a plan yet to be fully revealed. The sun dipped low in the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched across the ground as an ethereal hush enveloped the gathered family. Isaac's heart raced with the weight of newly unearthed faith. Judith stood steady, yet uncertainty still flickered in her mind like the shadows born from the setting sun. As the divine messenger departed, a rustle swept through the trees nearby. Suddenly, the serene silence was shattered by urgent footsteps approaching them. A woman emerged from the thicket, her face weathered yet striking, her gaze fierce yet compassionate. Esau squinted against the fading light, his heart quickening. "Who approaches us?" he called out. "I am Leah," she responded, her voice steady, almost pleading, as she stepped into the glow of the campfire ignited moments before. "I heard the call of your God. I have journeyed far, for he has laid it upon my heart to seek out the sons of Isaac." Isaac stepped forward, arms crossed over his chest. "You come seeking us? Why would you abandon your people?" The underlying tension highlighted the deep divisions etched in their hearts. Leah lowered her head slightly, humility draping around her like a cloak. "My lord, I deserted my homeland not out of a choice of convenience, but because the Lord stirred within my spirit. He revealed to me that the threads of fate are woven across the boundaries of nations. The cries of my heart echoed his heart. I knew I must find you." Judith instinctively tightened her grip on Esau's hand, their hearts in sync, recognizing the potent yearning in Leah's voice. "What message do you bring?" Isaac challenged, curiosity now pricking at his stern exterior. Leah, emboldened by the proximity of their faith, raised her eyes to meet his. "The God of Israel has seen the plight of the broken-hearted. He rekindles hope where despair has found refuge. I come, not just to reveal my heart but to share a vision, a community founded on His grace, a lineage birthed from our struggles, an alliance fortified by faith." Esau's spirit began to stir, recalling the promise spoken over their forefather, Abraham. "Then it is not only our bloodlines that bind us, but the covenant of another's longing," he declared with growing fervor. "And what of your heart, Leah?" Judith interjected. "Whom do you seek among us?" "Your voices call to me, I seek a new beginning," Leah replied, her breath catching. I long to witness the fulfillment of this promise under one God, a God who gathers the forsaken into his embrace. The intensity of the moment echoed beneath the canopy of stars, trembling with divine presence. Isaac now felt as though a veil had been lifted from his heart. Then let us not forget the history that has shaped our paths, Leah. It shall not bind us, rather, we shall use it to forge unity. Leah's eyes reflected the light of the flame. Then let us forge a new legacy built on faith, embodying the love that God extends to all. Esau stepped forward, filled with renewed purpose. Just as Rebekah carried the promise of God's plan, you too shall bear witness to his miracles. Together we shall prepare for what lies ahead. And as they clasped hands, Judith's faith mingling with Leah's hope, Isaac's resolve merged with Esau's vision. The air thickened with promise. Yet a shadow lingered, an ancient grudge whispering at the edges of unity. As they chose faith, the ground trembled subtly beneath them once more, echoing the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The messenger had spoken of trials and a path steeped in shadows, and even now, Leah felt a stirring deep within, sensing that not all would accept the unfolding of this new tapestry of covenant. As the moonlight washed over them, she whispered, "What if the very threads we weave together face resistance from those we leave behind?" The flame flickered, mirroring the uncertainty of a journey not yet taken. The night air shimmered with unanswered prayers, and within their hearts echoed a deeper mystery. God is weaving a greater plan. Could it be that this very moment unlocks the divine keys to reconciliation for not just us, but those yet unseen? With hope perilously balanced on the brink of the unknown, they bowed their heads, enveloped in a sacred promise that transcended their present plight. The sovereign hand of God was at work, intricately weaving a story yet to be fully revealed. As the night deepened, the crackling of the fire merged with the rhythmic sounds of nature, creating a sacred ambience that held the weight of their conversation. Isaac, still in thought, raised his eyes skyward in fervent prayer. His spirit felt the looming shadows of uncertainty that Leah had sensed. These whispers were not merely echoes of the past but impending trials. "Lord of our fathers," he murmured, "we seek your guidance and strength against the tides of history." The air shifted subtly, filling their hearts with an expectant hush, as if the heavens were poised to respond. Leah watched Isaac, sensing his burden, yet also marveled at his unwavering faith, reminiscent of Abraham before him. Judith, seeking to steady the moment, turned to Leah. "What do you desire most in this journey, Leah?" "To witness the fulfillment of God's promise, to be part of something greater." Her voice trembled with sincerity. Tears glistened in Leah's eyes as she spoke, "To belong to a community forged in faith, one that mirrors the love of our God. I long to mend what has been torn apart, to nurture a future that aligns with the divine intent." Esau, filled with righteous zeal, stepped slowly towards Leah, who stood as a beacon of hope. "Then we shall honor the covenant made with our fathers," he declared fervently. "We will unite our hearts as one, and the call of our ancestors will guide us forward." Suddenly, Leah shuddered as a vision kindled within her, a glimpse of their journey ahead entwined with darkness yet pierced by light. "But beware," she warned, gripping the hands of those around her, "the path is fraught with conflict, where old rivalries will rise against us. We must stand resolute." As the fire danced, illuminating the thoughts among them, Esau recalled the ancient words spoken of his lineage. Our forefather Jacob, even amidst his turmoil, was promised the earth beneath his feet. We too, must reclaim the land that is ours, the inheritance passed down through faith. At that moment, a sound broke through the night, crashing through the stillness like thunder, shaking the very ground upon which they stood. The rustle of branches and the wild cries of distant beasts echoed ominously, summoning forth the fears that lived deep within their hearts. Judith, sensing the shift, clutched Esau's hand tighter. "Could it be that our past is rising to challenge us?" she questioned, eyes wide with trepidation. But Leah, emboldened by her vision, raised her chin defiantly. "The Lord has not brought you here for fear but for revelation. He will illuminate the way in our darkest hour, and what seems like division will become a testament of His glory." As they gathered closer, they felt the breath of the Almighty enveloping them. "What if we are meant to be a testimony of redemption?" Isaac proposed fervently. Could our unity spark a change that reverberates through time? In that fragile moment, the essence of their purpose became clearer. They understood that their struggles were not just for themselves but for a legacy that would stretch far beyond their years. Suddenly, a flash of insight pierced Leah's mind, a forgotten message from their forebears. In the time of Jacob, she recalled, was a woman named Dinah, whose story wove pain and promise. Has God destined us to heal that rift? With a hushed air of expectancy lingering, they bowed their heads in prayer once more, seeking not simply an answer but clarity about the profound mystery they were being called into. Thus, from the shadows of their past, light emerged, a promise wrought with covenantal fires, yet beckoning them into an unknown future. God's hand is prompting a greater purpose, a voice spoke softly. Will we not heed the call? As they dispersed into contemplation, the flames flickered against the night sky, whispering secrets of divine inheritance. The question loomed heavy within them like a call to arms. Could it be that our combined strength is what God desires, to redeem the years wasted in division? Indeed, what they did not yet know was that the journey ahead would challenge them like the storms of the sea, yet through their trials, evidence of God's unfathomable grace would unfurl, unveiling the miraculous story of redemption yet to be fully unveiled. As dawn approached, a gentle light began to appear over the horizon, illuminating the landscape where Isaac and his family stood. The embers of their fire faded, but within their hearts still burned the flames of resolve and purpose. As they gathered once more, the prophetic weight of Leah's vision lingered in their thoughts, urging them onward. Let us prepare our hearts and gather our strength, Isaac encouraged, his voice steady. The God of our fathers calls us to reclaim the promise. We must not cower before the shadows of doubt that seek to overwhelm us. Judith nodded fervently, her spirit kindling with the notion of shared purpose. And we shall seek not only the land promised but also healing from the wounds of the past, she proclaimed. Our story must be one of reconciliation and love. Esau, energized by the conviction of their gathering, took a bold step forward. I shall take the lead, he declared. The land is wide, and the mountains call. We will not merely walk but run, living testimonies of the hope we carry within us. For the Lord has declared through our fathers that we shall be a great nation. With those words, a deep sense of anticipation filled the air, crackling like the fire moments before it flares up. Leah, her heart racing, intertwined her fingers with Esau's, recognizing the significance of their union. But to move forward, we must also confront what divides us, she cautioned. The wounds of yesterday call to us, we cannot ignore them. As they journeyed, they came upon a valley lush with greenery, a stark contrast to the arid landscapes they had traversed. It was here that Leah spoke again, her voice a whisper breezing through the trees. I sense a familiarity here, a sacred space marked by the past. In that valley, they paused, for the air was thick with memories both jubilant and sorrowful. Legends of Dinah danced about them, intertwining her legacy with their purpose. Leah settled to rest on the cool earth, contemplating the struggles their family had endured. What came of her pain? Can we not rise as one, stronger for what was lost? Suddenly, the presence felt undeniable. It was as though the air itself shifted, and all nature stilled. Just then, the sound of hooves echoed. A caravan appeared, emerging from beyond the distant hills, dust trailing in their wake. Who approaches? Called Isaac, raising a hand to shield his eyes from the radiant sun that crept higher. A tall figure at the helm of the caravan rode forth, adorned in richly woven attire. The leader reined in his steed, surprising all present. I am Hemdan of Shechem, he announced, voice carried by the wind. We have heard tales of the sons of Isaac, for the breath of your father still resonates in this land. Curiosity rippled through the group as Hemdan dismounted, revealing a retinue of men and women behind him. Your kin are known by the stories woven in this region. We seek to unite and forge a bond that will rebuild what has been broken, he continued. Judith felt a quickening in her spirit. What do you mean, O Hemdan? She asked, stepping forward. Your forefather Jacob forged a legacy here. We, too, desire healing. Perhaps your lineage holds the key to reconciliation, for we, the people of Shechem, once wronged Dinah, he recounted, his voice heavy with remorse. Could it be that God has sent you to restore connection, to bind what was severed? A shiver of divine purpose washed over them. Leah sensed the arrival of an unexpected opportunity, a chance not only to reclaim their inheritance but to actively embody the very change they sought. Yes, she proclaimed boldly, with your help, we may heal the deep wounds and forge a new covenant, a living testament of love and redemption. But as they began to converse, an unsettling urgency remained. What further tests awaited them as shadows loomed upon this newfound bond? In this confluence of destinies, could it be that the journey would demand more than mere words? With a unity strengthened by shared hope and love, they prepared for the path ahead. And yet, an unsettling thought flickered at the periphery of Leah's mind. What if God's sovereign plan includes not just the healing of hearts but also a redefining of legacy? A promise yet to unfold, echoing the cries of their ancestors, beckoned to them, an invitation to reclaim not just a land, but the very essence of who they were destined to become. As they mingled under the warm sun of the valley, a hush fell over the group. The air thick with anticipation, Isaac gathered the family, his gaze shifting to Hemdan. Tell us, O Hemdan, what is it that you seek from us? You speak of reconciliation, yet what weight hangs upon your hearts? Indeed, Hemdan replied, the gravity of his mission evident. Our people have carried the shame of wronging your sister Dinah. Her name is a reminder of our failures and the rift it created amongst our families. The memory echoes in the hearts of our children. We seek to make amends. Judith stepped forward, her heart responding to the pangs of history. What would you have us do, then? We carry our grief, but within us lies the seed of hope. The Lord has brought us to this moment. It is not merely for talk but for true action. Esau, emboldened by the Spirit, declared, let us form a covenant of peace. One that not only mends the fabric of our families but also reclaims the land's promise. We must stand not just as descendants of Jacob, but as inheritors of God's blessing together. The crowd murmured in agreement, their spirits kindled. Leah, gazing at Esau, felt a shift in her own heart, a vision of unity unfolding before them like a blossoming flower amidst thorns. Let us not forget that this reconciliation requires humility, she warned gently. We must delve into past wounds, not just for healing, but for understanding. With solemnity, Hemdan nodded. We are willing to listen. In our haste, we acted without foresight. Let us share the pain of yesterday, that we may sow trust among ourselves. The communion of thoughts transcended words, as they shared tales of the past, stories of laughter, sorrow, loss, and hope that had lingered through generations. As they spoke, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that danced across the verdant valley floor. But as the conversations flowed, a sudden chill swept through the air, unanticipated and jarring. It was as if the earth itself drew in a breath. Leah felt the ground tremble softly beneath her, a foreshadowing of something profound. What now, Lord? She murmured under her breath. Then, from the depths of the trees, an unexpected figure emerged, cloaked and weary. As they drew nearer, Leah's heart raced. She recognized the familiar features, the lost half of their tale. Rachel. She gasped, her voice trembling with disbelief. Rachel, with eyes filled with unshed tears, stepped closer. I have wandered, seeking the path back to my people, drawn by the whispers of history and the cries for redemption. Suddenly, the weight of the past felt both heavy and lighter. The sons of Jacob had been flawed, yet God bound their stories together in profound ways. Isaac, stunned, rose to embrace her. But how? Why have you come now? The legacy of their family hung in the air, ripe with promise and contradiction. I knew not where my journey would lead, Rachel spoke, voice trembling yet fierce. But in my heart, the longing for reconciliation never waned. Is it not the Lord's intention that we unite, not merely as families but as vessels for his healing, stripped of bitterness and clothed in grace? A sense of purpose surged through them as they beheld Rachel, embodying a divine departure from despair to hope. In that moment, a sacred silence settled among all present. Yet Leah could not shake the thought lingering at the edges of her spirit: what divine instance led Rachel to this moment, and what greater trials might arise from this reunion? As they embraced their sister, the twilight deepened, a reminder that darkness often accompanies the dawn. Leah's heart quickened with that unsettling question: will this mark the beginning of true healing, or will it unravel the very fabric of what we seek to bind? In that crucible of emotion, where shadows and light intermingled, they stood on the brink of revelation, for what lay ahead was unclear, but without doubt, God's sovereign plan was unfolding amidst their stories, intertwining destinies, and sacred legacies. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, casting a golden hue upon the valley, the assembly fell into a contemplative silence. They gathered around Rachel, the woman whose very presence evoked memories of love mingled with pain. Each heart was stirred as Rachel's weary gaze met that of her family, and hope flickered in the air as though breathed forth by the Almighty Himself. "What shall we do now?" Judith's voice broke the stillness, echoing a longing for direction. The path before us seems shrouded in mystery. Isaac stood firm, his heart swelling with protective love for his family. "Rachel, sister, your return has emblazoned our hearts with purpose. Speak to us of your journey and what has brought you to this place at such a pivotal hour." Rachel's eyes shimmered with the remembrance of her trials. "Many nights I traveled through wilderness and shadow, but ever did the Lord keep me safe. He spoke to me in the stillness, proving to me that the lineage of Jacob is laden with promise, a promise yet seen but one that must unfold." Leah leaned in, her spirit ignited by Rachel's words. "Indeed, our history is woven with His divine threads. But what is it that you discovered in that wilderness? What truth did the Lord impart to you?" As whispers enveloped them, Rachel continued, "I beheld a vision, one of our children rising as guardians of our faith, united in spirit and overcoming discord. It was clear that our reconciliation would not merely erase our past but forge a foundation for generations yet to come." The air buzzed with an energy that echoed the divine. "Let us not merely recount our sufferings but focus on the legacy we shall leave," Esau proclaimed, his voice swelling with fervor. "This gathering could signify a renewal of our promise not just to each other but as stewards of God's great covenant. It is not in inquiry but in our actions that we honor both our fathers and the Almighty." At that moment, the crowd felt a shift, an unseen force leading their words into a symphony of purpose. They began to share their own dreams, aspirations for peace, and their yearning to break free from the chains of their past. Hemdan contributed with fervor, invoking the memory of Dinah: "Let us celebrate her life not as a scar upon our legacy, but as the catalyst for transformation. For her name can become synonymous with healing." As the moon illuminated the valley, a tapestry of fellowship unfolded. Each heart began cherished conversations, tender revelations, and commitments shared. They prayed together, voices intertwined, offering supplications for forgiveness and a future marked by compassion. Yet, amidst their rejoicing, Leah felt an unsettled spirit. "What of the currents of darkness that linger?" she voiced, glancing into the shadows. "Will our endeavors anger the powers that divide us?" Before Rachel could respond, the winds shifted, stirring the leaves, carrying a resonant whisper. A holy unease blanketed the gathering. Their intentions were noble, but the enemy would seek to thwart the very purpose they sought to establish. At that moment, the veil of twilight was drawn aside, revealing another figure approaching from the path. "Behold!" Leah exclaimed, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the outline, recognizing the weight of this uninvited presence. "It seems our moment of reckoning is not yet complete." As the figure took form, each heart beat in anticipation. Who emerged from the shadows? And what role would they play in the divine weaving of their story? The air thickened with mystery, the outcome of their covenant hung delicately upon the precipice of fate. In that sacred space, hope and trepidation intertwined, revealing a truth that would indelibly mark their destinies. The time of God's fulfilling purpose was dawning, yet the revelation of His plan remained veiled, casting shadows deeper than they yet understood. As the figure emerged from the obscurity of the encroaching dusk, the assembly stood breathless, attuned to the paradox of fear and curiosity that coursed through them. The silhouette blossomed into clarity, revealing the visage of a woman cloaked in a modest garment, a heavy shawl draped over her shoulders. This was no stranger, it was Ada, Esau's wife, long thought to have wandered beyond the borders of their story. Esau gasped, his voice a whisper as he exclaimed, "Ada? How is it that you are here?" The crowd wavered between disbelief and the awe of divine providence as Ada stepped into the sacred circle, her countenance both weary and resolute. "My beloved, I have returned, not in the shadows of past sorrows, but as a vessel of the Lord's grace. I come bearing a message that flows forth from the heart of God Himself, a call to unity." Rachel's spirit ignited at Ada's words. "What message does the Lord bear through you, sister?" Ada's eyes glistened with fervor as she spoke. "During my solitude, I encountered trials that forged my faith. The Almighty revealed to me the deep fractures that could linger in our lineage unless we embrace our shared story. Conflict breeds division, but love and forgiveness birth healing." Leah stepped forth, compelled by the urgency of Ada's proclamation. "But how can we heal the wounds of betrayal and enmity that mar our past? How can we reconcile where discord seeks to return?" Ada raised her hands, palms open to the heavens. "We must do more than seek reconciliation, we must pursue it with the fervor of our ancestors. The Lord showed me visions of our children growing together, hands locked, upholding a faith that no discord can diminish. This shall commence with us, embarking upon the path of forgiveness not just in word, but in deed." A murmur rippled through the assembly as fear mingled with the promise of hope. Judith, her heart burdened yet encouraged, asked, "Are we prepared to risk our hearts, to stand against the enemy's divide?" "Indeed," Esau affirmed, his voice solidifying like granite. "Let our gathering not falter in uncertainty. Let us proclaim, as our father Jacob did, 'Behold, here I am.' Let us rise united, reaching across the chasms of mistrust, and forge a new covenant with the Lord as our witness." As the assembly breathed in unity, the heavens responded, a gentle wind whispered through the valley, echoing Ada's words. The stars emerged, shimmering with divine promise, as though the very heavens aligned with their resolve. Rachel interjected, her voice firm yet tender, "But what if the past returns to haunt us? What if the shadows of betrayal seep into our midst again?" Ada's face softened with understanding. "We must remember, beloved, forgiveness is not a one-time act, it is a choice we renew daily. We will need to lead the generations to come in the ways of light, teaching them to embrace love over hatred, faith over fear." With every syllable, Ada's declaration bore the weight of divine truth, igniting a flame of fervor within their hearts. They began to speak, sharing their own burdens and wounds, pledging their commitment to one another anew. Yet, amid their vows, a distant rumbling echoed in the air, unease beckoning at the borders of their gathering. The winds shifted once more, whispering of challenges yet to come. As they concluded their heartfelt prayers, Leah turned her gaze to the mountains shrouded in twilight. What other designs might God uncover for us? What trials await, beyond our rekindled bonds of love? Shall the enemy not rise against us, threatening the very foundation we seek to build? In that reflective silence, a shadow of understanding passed among them. With new resolve and uncertainty mingling beneath their hearts, they gathered close, an unflinching line against the encroaching darkness. For within their unity lay the essence of God's plan, an intricate design yet to be fully revealed. But what they did not yet understand was that this reconciliation was but the first act in a divine tapestry woven with miracles, where each thread of pain, love, and hope sustained a sovereign story greater than any heart could fathom. As morning broke anew over the land, the soft hues of dawn painted the sky in gold and coral, a divine reminder of the hope that was rising. The assembly of Esau, Judith, Leah, Rachel, and Isaac gathered in solemn unity, determined to embrace the rippling promise that God had set before them. "Let us prepare our hearts and our minds," Isaac spoke, his voice resonant with authority. "We are summoned to a covenant marked by faith and forgiveness, a promise to heal the wounds of generations." Esau, emboldened by the presence of Ada, turned to his kin with intense resolve. We stand not as rivals but as heirs of God's blessing. Today signifies a turning of the tide. Our burdens will not define us, for our unity shall give rise to a legacy that honors our forefathers. Judith clasped Ada's hand, feeling an electric spirit of renewal coursing through their gathering. Together, we must forge a path of reconciliation. We will not merely speak of peace, we will enact it, she declared, her heart alight with fervor. As the sun crested the horizon, illuminating the valley, Leah looked to the heavens, sensing the weight of divine witness enveloping them. Let us recount the stories of our pasts, not to dwell in sorrow but to unveil the hope that lies within, she urged, her voice steady and clear. Each tale is a thread, and together, they will weave a fabric strong enough to carry the weight of our desires: forgiveness, unity, and love. A crowd began to form, drawn by the sacred light radiating from the assembly. As they opened their hearts, each member of the family shared their story, their struggles, their failures, and the yearning for a new beginning. Within their interwoven tales, a greater truth emerged, that despite their differences, they were bound by God's unrelenting grace. Isn't it remarkable, Rachel spoke, filled with quiet amazement, that in our darkest hours, the Lord has led us to this moment of merging? Even Dinah's pain finds a voice in our union. We must ensure that her legacy becomes one of healing. The crowd erupted in affirmation, voices echoing with a shared understanding of their calling. Each heart, once burdened by strife, now beat in unison, awakened to the possibility of what could be. Yet shadow loomed at the edges, a reminder of the trials that awaited them. As they pledged their commitments, wind gusted sharply, rumbling through the trees. We cannot afford to be naive, Ada cautioned, her eyes scanning the horizon. The enemy lurks, seeking to shatter what we build. But we meet him not in fear, we shall rise together, prayers raised high, hearts intertwined. For where we are weak, in God's strength we shall be made whole. With fervor, Isaac lifted his hands to the Almighty. O Lord, gather our scattered spirits, bind us in your truth. Equip us for the battles ahead, for we are your chosen, called to share your light. Suddenly, from the edge of the assembly came a stirring, a voice breaking through the twilight silence, filled with awe and reverence. Behold, the covenant of the Lord is upon you. A figure approached, cloaked in robes shimmering with celestial light, unmistakably a messenger of the Almighty. Have you come to witness our pact? Esau asked in fervent anticipation, a palpable excitement thrumming through the crowd. The messenger's voice rang out with authority, indeed, I bring tidings of joy and declarations of purpose. Your united hearts have caught the ear of heaven, and a new beginning unfolds. Yet prepare yourselves, for the road is fraught with trials, each will challenge your faith and test your resolve. Moses faced Pharaoh's heart, Daniel stood against lions, and Esther risked her life for her people, Leah recalled, fortifying her family's spirit. So too shall we face our own adversities. Let us not be dismayed, armored in faith, we shall confront what darkens our path. As the messenger continued, though temptation shall arise, let your eyes remain steadfast in hope. For you will be a beacon to those yearning for redemption, not just within this circle, but for nations beyond living waters. And what of the legacy we build? Ada asked, her heart soaring with the promise of fruition. It is here, through your unity, that a new generation will arise, a lineage marked by faith, reflecting the very heart of God, the messenger affirmed, lifting his hands skyward. You are his chosen vessel, a tapestry woven by the divine for purposes beyond comprehension. Esau turned to Ada, Judith, and Leah, eyes alight with divine inspiration. Shall we not embrace this promise? We must step forward together into this land, not only to recover what was lost but to prepare a place for those who will follow our example of love and faith. Thus, the assembly declared a commitment to rise as one, each heart igniting with certainty and hope. Through the tumult of their pasts, they would carve a future, forged in bonds of compassion, nourished by the very essence of God's grace. As the horizon blazed in hues of orange and pink, they joined hands in solemn prayer, invoking God's presence, an echo of generations stretching back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, calling forth blessings anew. Together, with spirits united, they took their first step toward a promise unfolding, each footfall resounding with purpose. The air shimmered with the weight of God's Spirit, and the sun burst forth, illuminating their path as they journeyed into the dawn of a new legacy, a living testament of redemption that would ripple through generations to come. In the sacred silence that followed, resounding hope rested gently upon their hearts, reminding them that though the road ahead may be brimming with challenges, they were bound, together, by the unwavering love of the Almighty. And as they trod onward, each member radiated the promise that their faith, woven through pain, struggle, and grace, would echo through the ages, declaring the unfathomable story of God's redeeming love that could transform even the most fractured of legacies. Now, dear friends, this is your moment to join in this journey of spreading God's truth. Do not wait, subscribe immediately to our channel, ensuring you never miss another powerful biblical story. If this story has ignited your faith, leave a like now to help spread God's word far and wide through the algorithm. We want to hear from you. Comment your reflections and how this story has impacted your spiritual journey. Your insights matter deeply. And remember, there are souls waiting to hear this truth. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to hear these life-changing words today. Your support helps us reach hearts with the transformative light of God's love. This is the moment to stand united in faith. Do not delay, take action now for His glory.